You've seen the yellow sticker, half price, today only. This loaf still looks normal, wrapped, clean, safe looking. But tonight, the store may decide it is no longer food. Because that yellow sticker is not just a discount, it is a countdown. A few last hours where this loaf still belongs to the world you know. A shelf, a price tag, a shopping basket, a quick decision. Buy it now, or watch what happens when nobody does. Because if this loaf is still here when the store closes, it may leave through a door customers never see. Not the front door, the back door. And once it goes through that door, the question changes. Not, would someone eat this? But, is this still allowed to be food? During the day, the loaf is simple. It has a place, a barcode, a price. People pass it, pick it up, check the sticker, put it back. Maybe they want something fresher. Maybe they think they'll come back later. Maybe they don't. So the loaf stays there, hour after hour. And the clock keeps moving. Then the store gets quieter. The bakery shelf thins out. The announcements stop. The lights feel colder. And closing time arrives. But closing time is not the end of the supermarket. It is the beginning of the part you were never meant to see. A worker walks the aisle, not shopping, sorting. They take the loaf, turn it over, check the label, check the seal, check the date. Then they drop it into a crate. That crate does not go to the checkout. It goes behind the wall, behind the music, behind the bright shelves, behind the smell of fresh bread, into the back room. And this is the first real payoff. Food does not become waste in the bin. It becomes waste earlier, on a form, in a crate, under a deadline. Back here, the loaf gets a new identity, not bread, inventory, surplus, unsold stock, a problem that has to be solved before morning, because tomorrow the shelf has to look full again. That is one of the hidden rules. A supermarket is not just selling food, it is selling abundance. To you, the loaf still looks fine. No mold, no obvious damage, no smell. So the obvious question is, why not just give it to someone? And that is where the story gets uncomfortable. Because you are looking at the food. The store is looking at everything around the food. Was it stored correctly? Was the seal damaged? Is the label a quality date or a safety date? Can it be collected in time? Can it sit overnight? Does it need refrigeration? Who takes responsibility if something goes wrong? Good intentions hit a system made of rules, timing, labor, and risk. Food does not move by sympathy. It moves by process. And process is rarely built for last-minute rescue. At this point, the loaf still has several possible futures. One future is simple. The yellow sticker works. Someone buys it. The countdown ends. Another future. It is still safe, still sealed, still usable, and it gets donated. That sounds easy. It isn't. Someone has to sort it, store it, log it, move it, collect it before the window closes. And here is the cruel part. Donation has a closing time too. A third future, the food gets recovered some other way. Animal feed, compost, energy recovery. Not ideal, but still better than burying something people planted, processed, packed, shipped, stocked, and never ate. And then there's the last future, the one at the bottom, the bin. Not because everything in the bin was safe. Some food is damaged, some is spoiled. Some really should not be eaten, but some food gets there for a more unsettling reason. The ladder exists, but the ladder is broken by time. Now look at the store from outside at night. The front is dark. The automatic doors are locked. But behind the building, there is still movement. A trolley, a crate, a metal door, a worker trying to finish the shift. And in some places, there's something even harder to ignore. A locked container, a chain, a padlock, a message without words. do not open, do not take, do not touch. To the store, the lock can mean hygiene, pests, liability, control, property. But to everyone outside, it creates a different image. Food on one side of the lock, people who could use it somewhere else, and a system that cannot always connect the two in time. That image became so uncomfortable that France wrote laws around it. Large food retailers above a legal size threshold were pushed into donation agreements, and the law also drew a harder line. Stores could not deliberately make still consumable unsold food impossible to eat. That detail matters. Because if destruction were only a sad accident, lawmakers would not have written rules against making edible food impossible to use. The law did not magically save every loaf. It did not remove food safety risks. It did not solve logistics. But it sent a clear message. The bin should not be the easiest answer. And this is where the story flips. Because the worker carrying the crate is not the villain. They are probably tired, following a checklist, trying to close on time. The store manager is not automatically the villain either. They are trapped inside forecasts, delivery schedules, staff shortages, safety rules, and waste targets. The deeper problem is the promise built into the supermarket itself, that the shelves will look full, that the fruit will look perfect, that the bread will still look fresh 10 minutes before closing, that abundance will always be waiting for you. And that promise has a shadow, because an empty shelf looks like failure. So the store keeps food visible, even when the chance of selling it is shrinking, even when tomorrow's stock is already on the way, even when the yellow sticker is really just a warning that time is almost up. The waste does not begin at the dumpster. It begins earlier, on the shelf, under the lights, inside a system that would rather look full than risk looking empty. So go back to the loaf. Morning, full price. Afternoon, yellow sticker. Evening, last chance. Night, back room. For a few hours, it was still part of the world, you know. Something you could pick up, pay for, take home. Then, the store closed. The label was checked. The crate moved. The back door opened, and the loaf entered another world. A world of dates, scanners, cold rooms, donation windows, legal risk, and decisions made too late. The yellow sticker was never just a bargain. It was the last public moment before the food changed status, from something for sale to something the system had to remove. And that is the part most shoppers never see. Not the food being made, not the food being bought, but the quiet moment after nobody buys it, when food may still be needed somewhere, but is no longer allowed to stay food here. So next time you see the yellow sticker, ask yourself, is this a discount, or is it the final warning before the back door? If you've worked in retail, food service, or food rescue, tell me what happens after closing where you are. This is Unseen Lives, the systems behind the things we think we understand.